Welcome, everyone, to TechDaily.ai. I'm David, and I'm so excited to be joined today by our guest expert, Sophia.
Thank you so much. It's fantastic to be here. We have a remarkably shifting landscape to cover today.
We really do. But before we get into the details, you can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit TechDaily.ai to get started today.
Which is such a great way to reach our audience.
Absolutely. Okay, let's unpack this. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. And if you've been keeping an eye on the markets,
Which I'm sure many of you have been.
right, you already know there's one specific, massive, market-moving announcement commanding everyone's attention today.
It's hard to miss.
Exactly. We are looking at Nebius Group. Their stock just popped 14% in a single trading session.
Which is wild for a company of that size.
A 14% jump definitely grabs your attention.
Yeah.
And the catalyst driving that kind of immediate reaction is a massive $2 billion investment coming directly from Nvidia.
$2 billion with a B.
Right. So our mission for this conversation is to unpack the mechanics of this specific deal, examine Nvidia's recent billion-dollar spending spree, and figure out what an AI factory actually is.
Because that term is getting thrown around a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
We want you to understand the sheer physical scale of where artificial intelligence is heading. Because, for so long, we've treated AI like this ethereal software-only thing.
Just code floating in the cloud somewhere.
Exactly. But it's not.
No, it's intensely physical, and that's why this isn't just a cash handout from Nvidia.
Right. Let's get into the why here.
When you look closely at the announcement, Nvidia isn't just taking an equity stake and walking away. It's a deeply integrated collaboration.
They're getting their hands dirty.
Very much so. The collaboration spans across AI infrastructure deployment, fleet management, inference protocols, and the actual design and ongoing support of these AI factories.
They are building this together.
Yes. And the technological perk for Nebius is huge. They get early prioritized access to NVIDIA's latest generation of accelerated computing platforms.
Which, in this market, is everything.
It's the ultimate bottleneck, right? Compute.
Yeah.
Getting your hands on the newest, most efficient architecture before the rest of the market, that's an incredible competitive advantage.
It really is. Now, I want to bring in a crucial quote from Nebius CEO Arkady Veloz. He stated in the release that Nebius has been, quote, built for AI since day one, not adapted from a general-purpose cloud.
What's fascinating here is the distinction he's making for the market.
Break that down for us. What does that actually mean for the end user?
Well, think about traditional clouds. They were built for general software hosting websites, running enterprise databases, that sort of thing.
The stuff businesses have needed for the last 15 years.
Exactly. But Nebius is designed specifically for what AI developers actually need today. It's completely integrated from the silicon all the way up to the software.
So they aren't retrofitting old data centers.
No, because training large AI models requires parallel processing, thousands of processors constantly communicating with virtually zero latency.
Which generates a staggering amount of heat.
Exactly. It requires incredibly dense server racks, direct-to-chip liquid cooling. You can't just shoehorn that into a traditional data center without massive inefficiencies.
So Nebius is essentially building a custom-tuned engine for this one specific task.
Right. And that brings us to the raw scale of what they are building, because the numbers in this announcement are just, well, they're difficult to process.
Yeah, let's talk about the gigawatts.
Yeah.
Because they are projecting the deployment of more than 5 gigawatts of capacity by the end of 2030.
5 gigawatts.
And that includes building multiple gigawatt-scale AI factories right here in the U.S.
That threshold completely changes the conversation.
It does. I want to help you visualize how massive a gigawatt actually is, because it sounds like a sci-fi term.
Doc Brown and the flux capacitor, right?
Exactly. But in real-world terms, a single large-scale nuclear power plant generally outputs about 1 gigawatt of power.
Or the entire power draw of a mid-sized metropolitan city.
Right. And Nebius is aiming for 5 of those by 2030.
It highlights the massive physical infrastructure required to run modern AI. We're talking about infrastructure projects on the scale of national utilities now.
Finding locations with that much available grid capacity must be the biggest headache in tech right now.
Oh, absolutely. The hardware bottleneck is severe. And that ties directly into a very revealing statement made by Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that. He used a very specific phrase.
He said that Nebius is building an AI cloud designed for the agentic era.
The agentic era. What does he mean by that?
It connects to his broader point about why this partnership even exists. He talked about scaling the cloud to meet the surging global demand for intelligence.
Right.
For the past few years, we've been in this conversational era, right? You prompt a chatbot, it answers, and then it goes idle.
A very start and stop kind of workload.
Exactly. But the agentic era refers to autonomous AI agents that actively reason, plan, and execute multi-step workflows continuously.
Like an agent running in the background 24/7, managing supply chains or monitoring security networks.
Yes. Now multiply that by millions of agents globally. The compute profile shifts from occasional bursts to sustained high utilization continuous inference.
Which requires an astronomical baseline of power, hence the 5 gigawatts.
Exactly. Nvidia is the biggest benefactor of the AI boom because they produce the essential GPUs required to run these workloads. But they need partners who can actually plug those GPUs into a wall big enough to handle them.
Which brings us to the broader context.
Okay.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yes, let's zoom out.
Because this Nebius deal isn't happening in a vacuum. Nvidia has been on an absolute tear lately.
The velocity of their capital deployment is staggering.
It's a literal timeline of billions. Let me just list these out because it will blow your mind.
Go for it.
Just yesterday, Tuesday, they announced a significant investment in Mira Murati's new Thinking Machines lab.
Right, securing a multi-year strategic partnership there.
Last week, two separate $2 billion strategic partnerships with Lumentum and Coherent.
Which are photonics and optical networking companies.
Exactly, the physical interconnects. Then, late last month, Nvidia contributed a massive $30 billion to OpenAI's massive $110 billion funding round.
$30 billion into one round.
It's insane. January 2026, a $2 billion stake in CoreWeave.
Another major cloud infrastructure provider.
December 2025, a $2 billion stake in Synopsys.
Electronic design automation for chips.
And November 2025, they announced plans to invest up to $10 billion in Anthropic.
The pace is genuinely unprecedented.
So why the rush? Why are they dumping tens of billions of dollars out the door in just a matter of months?
There's a critical piece of context here. Jensen Huang mentioned at a recent conference that these investments might represent the closing window.
The pre-IPO window, right?
Exactly. This might be the very last time Nvidia can invest in these companies before they go public.
So they're locking in equity before the valuations hit the public market.
That's the financial incentive. But structurally, look at what they are funding. They are heavily investing in the infrastructure companies, like Nebius and CoreWeave.
The companies building the factories.
Right. And they are investing in the model builders, like OpenAI and Anthropic.
The companies buying the compute time from the factories.
Yes. Nvidia is essentially funding the entire ecosystem that relies on its own GPUs.
It's brilliant when you map it out. They hand billions to cloud providers to build the data centers. They hand billions to AI developers to run those data centers. And all that money ultimately flows right back to Nvidia to buy the chips.
It's a masterclass in ecosystem orchestration. They are systematically removing any financial bottlenecks that could slow down the adoption of their hardware.
And the broader market is watching this very closely.
Oh, they definitely are.
I saw Michael Sansatera from Sylvant Capital recently argue that large cap tech stocks, specifically Nvidia, are actually a deal right now, despite their massive growth.
Which sounds counterintuitive given how much they've already run up.
Right. But the market seems to believe that the underlying value they're creating, literally laying the foundation for a new era of computing, justifies the premium.
When you look at the scale of a 5 gigawatt infrastructure deployment, you start to understand why analysts feel that way.
So bringing this all together for you, the listener, why should you care about gigawatts and $2 billion investments?
Because the physical reality of the AI revolution is being cemented right now, today.
It's happening in real time.
Exactly. The infrastructure of tomorrow isn't just software you download. It's massive, power-hungry factories and specialized clouds funded by the very company making the chips.
Which leaves us with a lingering question for you to mull over as we wrap up.
It's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
If Nvidia is simultaneously supplying the foundational hardware and providing billions in funding to the companies building the cloud infrastructure and funding the AI models running on that infrastructure.
They're touching every single layer of the stack.
Right. So are we watching the rapid construction of a single highly interconnected global AI ecosystem essentially orchestrated by one company?
It's absolutely the most vital question to keep asking as this whole space matures.
It definitely changes how you look at the industry. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining our exploration here on TechDaily.ai. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll catch you next time.